Good evening. I will call the March council meeting to order. All alderpersons present have reported as such. Moving to third item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer in lieu of invocation. If you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? See none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Opposed? That passes. Next item on our agenda is the explanation of the visitor speaking procedure. Those individuals wishing to address the body this evening may do so after being acknowledged by a council member, in which you may approach the podium. You would have 5 minutes to speak on an item that is appearing on the agenda. Any items appearing on the agenda do not indicate or suffice an opportunity to speak. Next item on our agenda is item number 6, a presentation by Kevin Soucy, Director, U.S. Government Affairs of CN, of a $25,000 grant award to the City of Wisconsin Rapids for tree planting and beautification. Kevin, would you like to come to the podium? And at the base of the microphone is a button that says push, and it should light up green.
Is that working?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here, Mayor and Council. I'm glad I had a chance to get around and meet all of you. It's good to be back here in Wisconsin Rapids. My name's Kevin Soucy. I'm Director of Government Affairs, U.S. Government Affairs for CN. I'm based in Washington, D.C., but I'm from Wisconsin, and I'm never going to go native out there. I bleed green and gold, and I'm a Brewers fan, and it's always good to be back in Wisconsin, and I'm here quite a bit. And I assume that most of you are familiar with CN in some form. Probably see our trains going through town. I saw one as I was coming in here today, and I'm happy to meet at any time with you and be available to you to discuss any issues that you may have, concerns that you may have. So do not consider this a one-off. I'm around a lot and always available to you if you have any questions. We are pretty much the backbone of the Wisconsin economy. We cover most of the state of Wisconsin, but we go all the way to the port of Halifax on the east coast. We go all the way to the port of Vancouver on the west coast. And we go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico on the south coast to New Orleans. So we really connect this part of the world with global markets, and we employ a lot of people. We employ over 1,000 people in the state of Wisconsin, and tens of thousands of jobs are dependent on our service. So we've been part of the Wisconsin Rapids community for a long time, and we're going to be here for a long time, and we're very proud to be part of this community. And I understand there's a check here. I have a check here to present to the city. Several months ago, I met with Mayor Zach, and he was asking a lot of questions about our company, and discovered that we do have a community fund, and so he promptly applied for a grant for trees to help beautify and green and make Wisconsin Rapids a more sustainable place, improve the quality of life. And so he made the application, and the application was successful. So I'm here tonight to present to you, Mayor, and to the council, a check from CN for $25,000 for planting trees in the community. Thank you very much, and the real check is right here, so. Okay.
Kevin, thank you for being here, and thank you for agreeing to partner with the City of Wisconsin Rapids and support our efforts to beautify our city. We recognize that we're a beautiful city, but there's always more to do. And so we recognize and we thank CN for seeing the recognition in that. So thank you for being here and agreeing to be here as a resource after the meeting as it relates to questions on CN and trains and anything else. So, well, we'll see. You make that judgment on what might be long. It's up to these guys and gals. Thanks again. Item number 7 on the council agenda is Mayor Bruing's report, and item 8 is a rapid improvement update. Last March, and you heard, and shortly after, made the decision to support training our employees in continuous process improvement. Our partnering with Mid-State Technical College equipped us with the tools to identify improvement projects, approach problems differently, and develop cross-functional teams across departments to develop new solutions. So last summer, I, along with department heads, Alderperson Kellogg, and frontline employees, 29 in total, were trained to analyze processes and define or detect areas for improvement. Training consisted of 17 weekly 2.5-hour sessions covering the theory of define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, also referred to as DMAIC, and lean. In later sessions, received a mix of theory and practice where we applied what we learned. With groups working on improvement projects selected by the steering team and receiving consulting help from our instructor and also Christopher Springer, who assisted us in the initiative. This training qualifies interested individuals for Greenbelt certification, and upon seeing through on a completed project to completion and satisfying all the phased deliverables. I'm proud to say that our original training group, 17 of those individuals are pursuing certification. The steering team, made up of 8 individuals who had participated in the training and represented various departments, are responsible for driving the initiative forward. Their responsibility is to serve as the check-in point for project teams, lead charge of project solicitation, and review and act as a liaison for departments in the project call-out process. With the conclusion of training last November, the steering team continues to meet regularly to ensure that teams are progressing on their respective projects and to review employees' new project submissions for future project consideration. We continue to have quarterly report-out sessions where all trainees are expected to be present. These report-out sessions are a chance for those who are pursuing certification to get those phased deliverable requirements checked off by our instructor and to receive credit for completing each phase of DMAIC in the theory. Currently, we have 7 projects ongoing involving our trainees, as well as team members, adding their expertise and providing cross-departmental collaboration. The projects are, the first being agenda and referrals. Examining the process, it was determined that referrals and requests lack a formal process, which leads to agenda items that are inappropriate at times, lacking information, and contain errors, all leading to rework and delay. The project seeks to identify solutions for a process for referrals and requests to decrease rework, filter inappropriate requests, and avoid incomplete referrals, all of which lead to a longer throughput time and more work. Item 2 is brush pickup. The project that I'm actually involved in examines the city's monthly brush pickup program. The group determined that the program currently lacks a formal approved policy. Our current practice is inefficient, resulting in unnecessary travel looking for pickups at times. And this lack of a formal approved policy where crews drive routes monthly looking for pickups results in a costly service potentially benefiting an insignificant amount of residents, something we're still collecting data on. Item 3 is business inspections. The current process of business inspections, you see the police, the fire department, the assessor's office, the code enforcement, all inspecting independently, and the processes often overlap. Additionally, relevant business data isn't shared effectively between departments, and the project's goal is to reduce the number of business inspection touches by city employees to local businesses from between 4 and 6 to 1 to 2 annually, thereby increasing customer satisfaction and departmental productivity. The 4th project that is ongoing is the polymer usage project. The polymer usage has increased year over year exponentially. Members of the Finance Committee are aware of that. In 3 years, the City of Rapids has gone from a planned $20,000 annual expense to a $170,000 expense. This project seeks to examine the reasons for the cost increase with the goal of reducing the annual expense related to polymer from $170,000 and cut it in half to 25 to 50% from that. The 5th project ongoing is the special assessments, and that process has seen an increasing number of citizen inquiries. And the increased phone calls, site visits, and escalating complaints correlate to inquiry issues surrounding the special assessment process. This project is aimed at reducing citizen inquiries by providing easily understandable information to increase service, reduce complaints, and free up staff time. Item 6, or the project 6, is the stockroom and inventory process. Currently, long wait times, the number of touches, and unknown inventory levels lead to ineffective inventory management. The goal of this project is to optimize inventory management by decreasing the number of touches from 7 to 12 per item requested to a process consisting of 7 touches or less, leading to reduced downtime, increased productivity, and reduced costs. And the 7th project is the library check-in and shelving project. And the process of handling library materials involves many touches by various staff. The existing process saw numerous inaccuracies and inconsistent and lengthy turnaround time from 1 hour to 2 days for patrons to receive materials, which results in dissatisfaction. This project seeks to decrease the error rate and improve cycle time of received materials to get requested items to patrons at a significantly faster time. The timeline for projects is measured by what are called Gantt charts, and our current projects have timelines that run from almost completed, from when they started last fall, to a longer timeline of September 2014, in the case of the brush pickup project. What dictates a timeline is typically data collection. Where we see this become a factor is in projects that take time, and so we need to collect the data, or ones that have different data points throughout the year, which is why some of these projects will take a number of months to complete. And I think at this point it's important, it would be a good time for us to go over the business inspection slides to just show an example of a project that has gone through the Rapid Improvement Initiative. And all of you should have an example of the Business Inspections Project Charter in front of you. And it's on the slides as well, but it's kind of hard to read, in which, as I mentioned, the police, fire department, assessor's office, and code enforcement are excessive, independent, and the processes may overlap. That's the executive summary. And sometimes, in many cases, relevant business data isn't shared effectively amongst the departments. So their problem statement of that group, which is co-led by the police and the fire chiefs, and their goal is to reduce the number of business inspection touches by city employees to local businesses from 4 or 6 to 1 to 2 annually, thereby increasing customer satisfaction and departmental productivity. And so that's kind of the project charter. It's meant to be a living, breathing document, but it also serves as that guiding light for the project to be completed. Talks about who's involved, and as you can see in this one, there's a number of core team members. The Deputy Police Chief, who's here, Deputy Fire Chief, Karen Anderson, and Veronica Klisch, all members of the project. And then they bring in subject matter experts to review it. Ultimately, their benefits are a better understanding of other departments' roles, sharing of information across departments, and customer satisfaction, or less disruption, with business owners or business operators. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. This shows a Gantt chart. This is kind of the guiding light of how long the projects can take to complete. As you can see, this one, which had its define phase, started in September and completed in October, moved into measure from October to November. They analyzed the process in November, started to do improve in December, and now actually in January, and then we'll begin control. So this will be one that will actually be adjusted a little bit based on where their milestones were. And then what was sent out 2 weeks ago, if you go to the next slide, please, this group sent off a survey that businesses checked off for an inspection when is most convenient and for the time of day for the business. Oftentimes the feedback that they heard was that the business owners didn't have a good understanding of when they might be there at the business. So that was the first. That was a postcard. The second slide is a letter that went out explaining the common things that look for inspections, and then reinforce that this will inevitably increase business satisfaction through reduced disruptions of the businesses and maintain the integrity of inspections. So just a real live example of a project that's going on, which I think we can all agree, if we can disrupt business owners less but still maintain the integrity of our inspections and give them kind of a common list of things we look for, all will be better off after the project. Okay. And then finally, we actually have another further training opportunity in February. Last month we received notice that further Watt grant dollars, and if we remember that Watt grant was something that we applied for and were successful in, is a state grant to employers to help assist paying for training of employees for continued training. And the steering team is still reviewing and working on the final details of what the training will look like, but they're aiming to put an additional 10 to 15 employees through a much abbreviated training course consisting of 4 half-day sessions starting in mid-April. And these sessions, as I mentioned, it's abbreviated. It'll be kind of the fundamentals course covering DMAIC as well as the lean methodology. Although this training will not be as inclusive as the first round or result in certification of employees, it will afford more employees the opportunity of those who have an interest in training and working with the concepts to receive exposure and work on identified projects with those that are already going on, while also accommodating those with less flexible schedules. The trainees for the continued training have not been selected, and if anyone has an interest, I would open this up to the council as well in participating in the training as we did recently with the trainees, to please reach out to myself or a steering team member and participate in that. So that'll happen in April. And I would close by saying the progress that we as an organization have made in learning and applying Lean and Six Sigma concepts have really been significant in many ways. And I would say, as sitting in a lot of these report outs, very inspiring. And I would encourage anybody that has interest in sitting in one of these going forward to do so, because it really shows a real cross-collaborative group of employees working together on solving problems. So I applaud our council, yourselves, for the forward-thinking approach in approving the funding to supplement the cost of the training that were not covered by the Watt grant. And then I also thank city employees for their participation and department heads who approached training really with an open mind and continue to devote time out of their busy schedules to the completing of the projects. Improving our operations, improving customer satisfaction, capturing data, and empowering employees to be better problem solvers are all critical facets and will always be a part of the initiative. And I believe that as the initiative moves forward, we will undoubtedly see greater results and returns demonstrating further benefits to the organization's operations and to the taxpayers. So that's my update on rapid improvement. I would open it up for questions. I also want to acknowledge Brian Davis, who just received word yesterday he's going to be going off to West Point. So we're going to give him a congratulations as well. Successfully went through his interviews. Did you want to speak about that experience and the process it took to get you there?
Well, I've recently been accepted to the United States Military Academy, West Point. To get there, I needed a congressional nomination, and I needed to apply directly to the academies, and I needed both of those to get in. Actually, Mayor Ruink helped me. He wrote me a letter of recommendation for my Ron Kind nomination. I received a nomination from Ron Kind, so I'm just very thankful for your help there and just appreciative of all your support along the way. So.
You bet. Well, you represent us well, and then take your experience on the council and as a student forward with you in your training, and we hope you do well. Yeah, right. All right, in closing, I encourage residents to subscribe to my weekly community updates to stay in the loop about my whereabouts and my happenings. I also invite residents to attend my scheduled coffee with the mayor to ask questions and give me feedback. My door is always open, as I've mentioned before, and welcome visits by residents who are interested in meeting with me. All right, move on to the next item on our agenda, unless there's questions. Yes, I'm sorry.
I did,
Thank
and
you.
it's not really a question, it's a comment.
Alderperson Young, please.
So I've been asking for a while, and I feel kind of bad Tom's not here to counter me, but maybe somebody else will. And it's prior to you sitting in that seat, for meaningful mayor updates. Because I think when we put information out there about what is going on in this building, it holds us all accountable. And so when we get information like you just gave us, and when the community heard, now that gives them an opportunity to say, now, what was that project number 3? I'm not so sure I understand that. Or I'm not so sure I like the direction it's going. And I know that puts us all out there a little bit at risk of having to listen to that feedback, but I hope this continues. I'm not going to be here after a couple of months, but I hope this is the depth of information and the type of thing that is included in the mayor's report, not simply a cursory, nothing's going on this month, because this has been very helpful.
Thank you for the feedback. Any other questions? Reflections? Alderperson Kellogg participated in the program. Is there anything that you'd like to say about your participation?
I was very impressed. I participated in the library program, and at first when I became involved with that project, I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, but it's interesting when you look at the library. They handle 750,000 items a year, and that's a lot of items that they have to handle. And the thing is that they streamline how they handle it. Rather than handle each item 5 times, they can handle maybe 3 or 4 times. And so I was impressed with what they did, and I was impressed with what the colleagues that I worked with in this project did also. And the thing is, there's going to be residual benefits other than these projects. I know after going through this, I thought differently of things I do. And I'm sure that each department going through a project will think of other things in their department that they could do differently. So it's beyond just these few projects that they did. So I was impressed, and I would welcome anybody to participate as well. Thanks.
Thank you for the feedback, and I will mention that in a written form, you will get a document of reactions of those that participated in the training. We encourage those to give their feedback of what their experience was all about. And so I think it gives you kind of the gamut of people's experience, positive, negative, constructive feedback, et cetera. So that'll accompany a report coming forth on that initiative. And as the project's complete, a full report on what kind of achievements the project was actually able to achieve, recognizing a lot of these projects are still ongoing and have not reached their ultimate kind of state. So we'll get that out to the council members as they complete as well. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, move into the next item under 8, new business, a resolution approving the West Side Assessor's Plat number 26. See attachments number 1 and 2. Attachment 1 is a map. Attachment number 2 is a resolution. Be it resolved that the plat entitled West Side Assessor's Plat number 26, being all of the blocks 3, 4, 8, and 9 of Daly and Sampson, addition to Centralia, now City of Wisconsin Rapids, located in part of the northwest southeast quarter of Section 7, Township 22 North, Range 6 East, City of Wisconsin Rapids, Wood County, Wisconsin, having been ordered by the Common Council and all notices required by Section 70, period 27 of the Wisconsin statutes, having been given, and that said plat having been on the file in the office of the city clerk for a period of 30 days after the first of 3 publications, and no suit having commenced to have such plat corrected, West Side Assessor's Plat number 26 is hereby approved. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that resolution?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried. 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 9 on our agenda is the standing council committee reports. Item A is the Finance and Property Committee meetings held March 4th. Alderperson Young.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome to everyone here this evening and those individuals watching at home. I actually have 2 reports this evening. The first is the Finance and Property Committee met at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, March 4th in the first floor conference room here at City Hall. All members were present. A list of others in attendance is on file. Item 2, an application for a Class A liquor and beer license filed by Richards Liquors, LLC, Zachary Richard Coleman, agent, DBA Richards Liquors, LLC, for the premises located at 3033 8th Street South. It was moved and seconded to approve that liquor and beer license, and that motion carried. Item 3, and I would just note that your minutes are misnumbered, so we have a 4 and 2 5s. Item 3 is consider an offer to purchase for the city to sell a vacant lot located at 1741 West Grand Avenue, tax parcel number 34-03302. It was moved and seconded to approve that sale for $7,500. That motion carried. So then item 4 is the 2013 Revenue Appropriation Resolution. It was moved and seconded to approve that, and the motion carried, and you should have that as attachment 1. So now I am to item 4, a 2013 year-end transfer resolution. It was moved and seconded to approve that transfer resolution. The motion carried, and that is attachment number 2. Item 5 is the 2013 year-end carryover resolution. Again, it was moved and seconded to approve that, and the motion carried. That is attachment number 3. Item 6, a resolution amending the 2014 budget. It was moved and seconded to approve that resolution. The motion carried, and that is attachment, number 4. Item 7 is beverage operator license applications. It was moved and seconded to approve the new licenses for the individuals listed, and that motion carried. There were no renewal applications or applications recommended denied. Item 8 was an audit of the bills. We audited the bills from January 2nd, 2014 through February 28th, 2014. It was moved and seconded to approve and to pay those bills. Motion and a second to adjourn. The meeting ended at 5:25 p.m. Report number 2. The Finance and Property Committee met at 5:15 this evening in the first floor conference room here at City Hall. All members were present except Alderman Whirl, who was excused. A list of others in attendance is on file in the clerk's office. Item 2, a request from John Korgel of Renaissance Learning, Inc. for approval of a special events application for the June 14th Renaissance Learning Race Against Cancer from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. to include A, street closure from 6:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. of Peach Street between Highway 54 and 32nd Street. B, street closures from 8:15 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. from 1, Oak Street from Peach to 24th Street, 2, 24th Street from Oak to Apple/23rd Street, 3, 23rd Street from 24th Street/Apple Street to Lake Street, and 4, Lake Street from 22nd Street to 32nd Street. C, a request that Chestnut Street and 23rd Street be controlled by officers. D, vending. It was moved and seconded to approve that application, including all the items I just mentioned, and that motion carried. I would just like to notice that note that we did have a bit of a discussion with John, and last year, this event raised $30,000 for individuals going and needing assistance for cancer care. I just think that was wonderful. Item 3 is a request from Amber Crone of Aqua Skiers, Inc. for approval of a special events application for the July 4th street dance from 8 a.m. on July 4th to 12 a.m. on July 5th to include A, a special beer license application, B, street closures, 1, First Street North between Jackson and Oak, 2, 2nd Street between Oak and East Grand Avenue, C, suspension of the open container ordinance on the closed portion of the street, and D, vending. It was moved and seconded to approve that application with all the items I just mentioned, and that motion carried. Item 4, a request from Sarah Arndt of Wood County Task Force on Child Abuse for approval of a special events application for Run the Rapids on April 12th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. to include street closures of A, 1st Avenue South from West Grand to 3rd Avenue South, B, Goggins Street between 1st Avenue South and 3rd Avenue South. It was moved and seconded to approve that special events application, including the street applications, and that motion carried. Item 5, a request from Tom Sachs, Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, for approval of a special events application for Cranberry Blossom Fest, June 19th to 22nd, to include A, street closures of Grand Avenue between 2nd Street and 3rd Avenue, not including the intersection, on June 19th from 5 p.m. to 12 p.m. for Cinema Under the Stars. B, suspension of the open container ordinance on June 20th from 5 p.m. to midnight on Grand Avenue between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue, not including the intersection. C, street closures on June 22nd for the Cranberry Blossom Fest Parade from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the following streets are included. They're items 1 through 6. 11th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin, 12th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin, 13 between Chestnut and Wisconsin, 14 between Chestnut and Wisconsin. I have a theme going here. 15 between Chestnut and Wisconsin, and Grand Avenue between 16th Street South and West Jackson Street. E, a carnival, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd at Witter Field, provided by A&P Enterprise Shows. Right, Bob, would you be happy about that? You're welcome. It was moved and seconded to approve that application to include all the items I just mentioned, and that motion carried. Item 6, a request from Krista Kuhn, Heart of Wisconsin Business Alliance, for approval of a special events application for Lunch by the River beginning June 12th and held each Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. through August 28th to include A, vending, and B, closure of parking stalls on the west side of Second Street North during lunch by the river. It was moved and seconded to approve that application with the items I just mentioned. That motion carried. Item 7, beverage operator license applications. It was moved and seconded to approve new licenses for the individuals listed. That motion carried. B, there were no renewal applications. And C, it was moved and seconded to deny a license for the individual listed as recommended by the police chief, and directions were given to the clerk to make sure the individual is noticed of the appeal process. That motion carried. Item 8, it was moved and seconded to adjourn. The meeting adjourned at 5:28 p.m. With that, I would make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Alderperson Kirkpatrick.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak real fast to the contents of report number 2. As we had this meeting, I was kind of shocked, and I know, Gene, you were a little bit surprised as well. We've got here item number 2, Renaissance Learning. This is going on its 4th year. Aquaskier is talking about going into their 20th year or further. The Wood County Task Force on Child Abuse, this is over 10 years. Cranberry Blossom Fest, perhaps in that name, at least 10 years or more. I mean, how long we've been having a parade, I don't even have any idea since I was little. And well over 10 years we've been doing Lunch by the River. So I just wanted to recognize those achievements that these organizations, these individuals have put together these events for such a, obviously for such quite a long period of time now. In other communities I've heard over the weekend are choosing to not do certain events that they've been doing for decades. So really this is a thanks to the hard work that these individuals put in and that these corporations, entities put in, and also a big thanks to the members of the community for going out and supporting these events and ensuring that these people come back to us year after year and say, we want to do that again. This is a very important part of our community. And so I want to make sure that, these numbers continue to increase and that we can continue to say, hey, you know what, this has been going on for 30 years. This has been going on for 15 years. So thank you to everyone involved.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 9B, Public Works Committee meeting held March 4th.
Good evening. The Public Works had a meeting Tuesday, March 4th, and we met in the council chambers. All members were present, also including the Mayor Berwing, Dave Laspa, Joe Eichstead, and Nick. A list of others present is on the file in the clerk's office. Tom called the meeting to order. Number 2, open house for the following streets reconstruction projects. A, 3rd Avenue between West Grand Avenue to West Jackson Street. B, West Jackson Street between 2nd Avenue North to 3rd Avenue North. And C, 1st Street North between Spring Street to 200 north of Poplar Street. 3, we hold a public hearing for the installation of municipal improvements which shall include all sanitary sewer, water main, sanitary and water leads, curb and gutter, sidewalk, concrete driveway, approaches, and permanent street surfacing on A, 3rd Avenue North between West Grand Avenue to West Jackson Street. No one spoke against the project, and no one spoke for the project. Motion made and carried to recommend the approval of the project, including the final resolution, and that is attached. And B, West Jackson Street between 2nd Avenue North to 3rd Avenue North. No one spoke against and no one spoke for it. That motion and made and seconded to recommend approval of the project, including the final resolution, which that is also attached. 1st Street North between Spring Street, 200 Street North of Poplar Street. No one spoke against and no one spoke in favor. That motion is, and that resolution is attached. Motion was made and seconded to approve an amount. That motion, that resolution is attached. We reviewed and approved the design concept for the reconstruction of the following streets: Oak Street between Third Street and Fourth Street, and Fourth Street between East Grand Avenue and Oak Street. The adjacent property owners have provided their input on the proposed design of the reconstruction of the two streets. Oak Street is proposed to be reconstructed as a 32-foot wide street with decorative streetscaping, which will remove the 3 parking spaces on the north side of the street. 2 parking spaces are proposed to be installed on the west side of 4th Street North. It is recommended that on 4th Street North, decorative sidewalk and streetlights not be installed due to budget limitations. Motion made and seconded to approve the design concept for the reconstruction of Oak Street between 3rd Street and 4th Street, and that motion carried. Motion and a second to approve the design concept for the construction of 4th Street between East Grand Avenue and Oak Street without decorative sidewalk and streetlights are recommended by staff. Motion carried. 5, we discussed the cost difference to install LED streetlights instead of regular pressure sodium streetlights on Rosewood Avenue at the 16th Street, 15th Street, and 14th Street South. This item is held over until the Water and Light obtains a rate for LED residential streetlights that is established by the Public Service Commission. 6, we reviewed the city's snow removal policy. The committee reviewed the policy. Motion and carried to remove the sentence in section 12 entitled intersection cleaning as follows: the city does not commentate removing snow from these areas unless solely directed by the Common Council or emergency order of the mayor, and approve the remainder of the snow removal policy, and that motion carried. 7, we considered extending the 2013 concrete sewer materials proposal with Concrete Materials Corporation through 2014 with a 5% decrease on the discount given since 2011. Motion made and seconded to accept the 2013 concrete sewer materials proposal with Country Materials Corporation for 2014. That motion carried. 8, reviewed the proposed 2014 Public Works project reschedule. The committee reviewed the proposed schedule. 9, reviewed the referral list. The motion referred the referral list and can be adjourned. Motion made and second to adjourn at the meeting at 6:58 p.m. I move to accept this report.
We have a motion, is there a second? Indicate.
Second.
Can you put your button on your remote? Thanks, Scott. A motion, a second, any discussion on the Public Works report? Seeing none, moving to a vote, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 9C is the Human Resources Committee meetings held March 11th. Alderperson Nash.
Human Resources Committee met at 4:15 p.m. on Tuesday, March 11, 2014. All members were present. Item one, the meeting was called to order at 4:17 p.m. Item 2, discuss and approve a request for recreation temporary summer hires. Motion was made and seconded to approve the request for the following recreation temporary hires: swim instructors 4, summer zoo aides 2, regular 2 subs, sports aides 10, head guard 1, co-head guards 2, lifeguards 4 regular 2 subs, cashier attendants 5 regular 5 subs, and babysitting instructor. And motion passed. Item 3, consider a cell phone stipend for police lieutenants. The a motion was made and seconded to pay a cell phone stipend of $35 per month to the police lieutenants. The motion passed. Item 4, a request from fire chief for out-of-state travel for FDIC training. Motion was made, seconded to approve the request from the fire chief for Todd Eakes and Adam Yerke to attend budgeted training at the Fire Department Instructors Conference in Indianapolis. That motion passed. Item 5, discuss the request to approve the following policies, practices, and procedures: telephones, FMLA, and snow emergencies. The motion was made and seconded to approve the 3 revised policies. The motion passed, and that's attachment 1. Item 6, adjourn. The motion was made and seconded to adjourn, and the motion passed. Meeting adjourned at 4:50, and I move for approval of this report.
We have a motion, is there, and a second? Any discussion? Alderperson Stack, you wanna hit on your remote for Shane's purposes up here? Thank you, sir. Very good. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Hey, you'll be the one training the newbies. Okay.
Motion carried, 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 10, miscellaneous reports. Item A, Airport Commission meeting held March 6th. Item B, Housing Authority held January 29th. Item C, the Housing Authority Resident Advisory Board held February 18th. Item D, McMillan Memorial Library Board of Trustees held January 15th and February 19th. Item E, the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department Monthly Organizational Summary Report for February. Item F, the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department Report for February. Item G, the Wisconsin Waterworks and Lighting Commission held February 12th, the special meetings February 12th, and the regular meeting. Item H, Wastewater Treatment Commission meeting held March 5th. Item I, the City Treasurer's Monthly Report for January. Item J, the Treasurer's Monthly Report on Investments for February. Item K, Ethics Board held February 13th in their 2013 year-end report. Item L, the Industrial Development Commission held March 5th. Item M, Police and Fire Commission held February 12th. Item N, the monthly report for the River Cities Community Access for February. Item O, McMillan Memorial Library Annual Report for 2013. It's a big one, you couldn't miss it. Item OP, Park and Rec Commission meeting held March 5th. Council members, what are your wishes regarding those?
Move to approve and place on file.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second it, but I also have a comment.
Alderperson Young, discussion.
So regarding the Airport Commission, my husband and I have had absolute privilege, of living next to Ray and Audrey Dibble. And as is the usual, I got home tonight and had to make like a 10-minute transition from one job to this next one, and Ray came across the street. Now, Ray is a retired pilot and has done a lot of work around and for the airport. And I'm really not trying to make everybody's teeth hurt with sweetness, but Ray came over tonight just to let me know how much he appreciates the way that you run the meetings, that people feel that they're being heard, and I don't know what prompted Ray, other than he may have known that I was on my way to a council meeting or just wanted me to know that. But I thought, you know what, we certainly let you know when we're not happy, especially regarding this commission. And for somebody like Ray Dibble, who has truly lived and done so much for that airport, to say that he feels like things are being run, at least from a policy and committee standpoint, much better. I thought that was really good to hear.
Thank you for the feedback. Any other discussion? Alderperson Kirkpatrick?
Thank you. Mayor, you and I spoke about this before the meeting here. I just wanted to, I don't know, maybe get a little bit of feedback from the other council members as well, regarding the, losing my train of thought here. Regarding the Park and Rec minutes. We've got several agreements that we're going through here with the different baseball and softball organizations, and reading through them, it triggers a few memories of discussions that we've had in the past. I mean, we've had the Rafters now for about, I think we're going on our 4th season here, and we've actually signed, another agreement within the last year or two to extend the Rafters being city baseball team. So, if we look in here, I'm just going to say item number 6 on the agreement with Ranger Baseball Incorporated, Legion Baseball. I'm just going to selectively choose this one, not to single one out, but this is just the example that I have right in front of me. City shall assure that the Rafters provide to the Legion 200 tickets to a regularly scheduled Northwoods League game for the 2014 season. It's also in the agreement Rent payable to the Legion to the city for the use of the facility. The term shall be $1. In consideration for the concession revenue generated by the Legion home games at the facility, city shall pay Legion $5,500. It just seems to me that, you know, we've had these agreements in place for several years now, and these agreements all kind of read in the same general vein. You know, that the city will receive $1 in rent, and that the city will pay these different entities X amount of dollars. And this all kind of came about, to the best of my remembrance, when the Raptors came in. And knowing now that the Raptors are going to be here for the foreseeable future, for several years to come at least, I think that it's time that the city, that the Park and Rec board, reevaluate those agreements, not for this year, but, you know, for the coming years. You know, are these agreements good for the city as they stand, as they're presented? Should we modify them? You know, and this, taking a look at it now, gives us an opportunity, gives us a full year's worth of opportunity to hash out these discussions with, you know, the Legion, with Assumption, with these other entities. That I think it's just time that we have these discussions now, that we know that we're 4 years into this and it's not going away. So I don't know if I want to make that a formal recommendation, but I guess maybe I wanted to kind of hear some of the thoughts of the other council members as to what they had.
So, if I may,
Alderperson Young, please.
so being involved from the onset, from the beginning, and I think some of you around this room were also involved, those were at times very contentious and painful meetings. But ultimately, through, I think, decent civility, open discussion, really listening to each other, we came up with what seemed to be fair, because those entities were losing some revenue that they counted on. So how can we make this fair so that it's not hurting the city of Wisconsin Rapids taxpayer, it's still benefiting the taxpayer, but it's also still promoting baseball in Wisconsin Rapids? I'm not going to be here, and when I hear you bring this up again, it's just, it's another reason I will be happy. But I would strongly encourage the new council. There was a lot of work, and I'm not one to say, well, we got to do it the same way because we've always done that. I believe you're right. Look at the data. What does it say? But we also had a group that really wanted not just to talk about Rafters Ball, not just to talk about Legion Ball, but we have a beautiful field, and we wanted to come together in a way to celebrate baseball. And what a great pastime that is for this community, considering the field that we have. So it certainly hasn't harmed us to have that agreement, as far as I can tell. Maybe somebody wants to look at that closer, and it has benefited the youth baseball program, which, quite frankly, I think is important for the community. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you for the feedback. Any other discussion? Alderperson Hokamp, please.
Thank you. I agree with you, Gene. That field has done a lot for Wisconsin Rapids. You go up there when they're at baseball, they're playing, there's park blocks and blocks away. How many people go to those games, and how many young people that otherwise would have no place to go, but they have time to go to the baseball game there? We should be proud of that. And we shouldn't start talking about things that we should, maybe the city can benefit more from it. The city's benefiting from it very much right now. Not just money-wise, but the people that are going there. And I can't see anything else. I can't talk about that stadium way back then, because it was really going to the pieces. It was going to be torn down just like the Wisconsin Rapids Theater was going. We stuck a lot of money in there. We got a lot to be proud of. And so don't start taking things away from it. Just keep adding on to it. That's my thought. Because there's a lot of people that go there, and there's a lot of money that's spent in Rapids that people come here to watch that game. So we got something to be proud of.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'd point out at the end of the Park and Rec Commission packet is also some handouts, materials that I circulated to the Park and Rec Commission on the subject of public spaces, so I encourage you to read them. If you want electronic copies, we can get you those as well, just to get the conversation started. Sure. City Attorney Schill.
Yeah, we actually, like Matt and Jim and I met regarding these contracts. We met with Riza and some others, and we decided that, for this year, they were okay. I mean, it's already spring, although it might be July before they start playing, but, and we, as part of the mayor's park improvement plan, and I know there is some maintenance needed, like at Robinson Buildings, and so, it was going to be a time where we were going to kind of look at the needs and the use of the facilities and who's really using them and better use of them. And so it will be something that we will be looking at in the off-season here in the fall and winter.
Thank you for clarification. Alderperson Kirkpatrick, sure.
And like, it was just, it was just a consideration, a thought, I think far too often we end up in a position where we kind of act very, very, very time-wise retroactively, or, in kind of knee-jerk situation, 10 years past the fact, or something along those lines. So this was just kind of, a question to try and keep the idea forward in our minds of what do we need to do, and if anything. So, Sue, I appreciate the comments. Thanks.
All right, we have motion and discussion, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes and 0 nays.
No items for new business at the April 15th council. Under 11, item 12, ordinances and ordinance amending section 505 of the municipal code entitled Sewer and Water Stub Taps to add a paragraph to said section that was erroneously deleted when the section was amended by ordinance number 1159. Said ordinance defines ownership of the sewer and water stub taps, laterals, or leads, and that's attached to see attachment number 3. Council members, what are your wishes regarding that ordinance? Entertain a motion to approve. A motion to approve. Is there a second? We have a second. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 13 is a referral of communications to committee. Request from myself that the council review and adopt a social media policy. After much work, want to bring it back to the council, so referral to the full body in April. Item 14, adjournment. We have a motion. Is there a motion and a second? All in favor? Opposed? Stand adjourned. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, to those watching at home, and thank you for joining us in person.